right, say like a quick test. Or...
Test.
Okay, so we should be okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, notice was
Recording in progress.
Notice was hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals is meeting tonight, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the Town Hall meeting for an executive session under the Mass General Law 30A 21A3 to discuss strategy with regards to potential litigation insofar as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect to the litigation position of the public body at 115 Park Street. We're open.
Well, you gotta go, oh, no, I guess you're right, everybody's in the room. Right, so we don't have to worry about it.
No, we're all here.
All right, now, who's that on there?
He just came in.
So you need a roll call vote to go into executive session?
Okay,
So we want to do the roll call vote.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure he's here.
He is.
Can we hear you, Chris?
Nope, he's muted.
Can you, you've got the owl, don't you?
Yeah, but
Oh,
he's coming over there first.
okay.
I'm unmuted.
Okay,
Be on now.
you can hear us now?
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a roll call vote to go into an executive session. Do I hear your name?
Chris Metcalf, yes.
David Axberg, aye.
Mike Brogan, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
Courtney Starling, aye. We also needed a second, so I'll go ahead and second.
Oh, yeah, sorry, second.
Okay,
We're all here.
now, Chris, you can get out of that Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Andrew?
I make a motion,
Hang on one second.
We're good.
I make a motion to close the executive session to open the new board meeting tonight. Do I hear a second?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Roll call. Chris? Oh, you're muted, Chris.
All right.
It's the remix.
Chris, you're muted on your side, I think, Chris. There you go.
Okay, I think I got it now.
Yep.
There you are.
Good job. Roll call on the motion to close the executive
Chris
session.
Metcalf. Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
Courtney Starling, aye.
Mike Brogan, aye.
All right. In accordance with,
Yourself, right?
I already did it.
Did you write already?
Yep.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
Yeah.
In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, notice was hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals is meeting tonight, Wednesday, March 19, 2025, at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall, 124. Members of the public are welcome to attend in person at 1 Liberty Lane or by remote Zoom connection provided. Please note that the in-person meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technical problems interrupt the remote connection. I call this meeting to order. 7 o'clock. I think we're about 9 minutes late, 8 minutes late, sorry. 6 Baltimore Street, appeal of the building commissioner's violation not to allow a mobile home to be parked on site while home is under construction. This has been continued since December.
Just a quick question. Do you want to just, since we're past 7:05, there was a continuance, you want to vote that for 1:15? And then go back to 7?
115 Park?
Yeah, because they requested continuance to the April
Oh,
meeting.
sure.
Is anybody here for that?
I believe there's an attorney on.
You can just do it.
Oh,
Yes, hi, this is Attorney Mark Corner representing Tim Conowitz.
Howdy do.
The appellant on that.
Okay. We're going to wait a minute, but let's start with 6 Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. You want, okay.
Oh, we can actually take him and just close it. And
We'll just
send
get
him
it
on
out of
his
here.
way.
That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, we can,
Oh, okay.
then we don't have to spend the applicant's money on
Somebody
it.
want to make a motion to,
I make a motion that we continue the hearing for 115 Park Street
Two?
to April 16th at 7:05.
Sure.
do I hear a second?
Chris Metcalf, I'll second it.
Roll call vote. All in favor? Chris?
Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now 6 Baltimore Street. Anybody here from 6 Baltimore?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a good
Have a good
night.
night, thank you.
Yes.
6-minute increments, that's only 2 6-minute
You're ready.
increments. We killed it.
You're up. You're out of there?
Well, what happened was they moved the utilities, so I haven't been in the trailer for 6 weeks. So they had to turn off all the power. So they're gonna turn it back on, and I'd like to go back into the trailer because I've been in a hotel for 6 weeks. Now, you were saying last time we'd see the progress after 90 days, which is 90 days now. And we're thinking about giving me another 90 days.
No, I don't believe we were thinking that. We were thinking, actually, what we were thinking is, from your verbiage, was that you would be almost complete in February. So by the time we got back here in March, you would be able to be done with the mobile home.
Yeah, we were gonna see where I was at this point, correct? And then you said you were thinking about giving me another 90 days at the time.
No, we never said that. As far as I know, I don't believe that's in the record or anything. So we had discussed that we were giving you some time to find a place to live, and in that time period, you were going to do that. It sounds like you found some place. You've been out of there for 6 weeks. So that means you have another place that you're living. So I would venture to say that you've met the criteria of what we asked, and so we can make a hearing that the mobile home is no longer needed and no longer.
Well, I need it, obviously. I'd like to move back there instead of paying for a hotel for 3 more months.
That's not in the cards. That's not an option.
Well, I'm sure, I don't have old timers, and you said last time you'd think about another 90 days after today. I didn't make it up. That's what you were talking about. Does anybody remember that?
Where are you at right now? Is it plastered? Is it cabinets on the walls?
No.
Is it insulated? Is it insulated?
What progress has been made in the last 90 days?
What they have to do is go in there, the plumber has to go in, the electrician has to go in there. It hasn't been,
So what progress has been made in the last 90 days since you last saw us? Because you told us that you would be just about done.
they got,
Your contractor told us.
outside is done, and now they have to do the inside.
Wasn't the envelope at the last point nearly complete? You looked, yeah. So
Roof is going on.
the roof was going on. So,
Yeah, all that.
so over the winter, very little interior work has been done.
Right, exactly.
And the reason for that is why?
I'm not running the crew,
But last time I don't mean to be like difficult or anything, but I'm asking because our expectation and the assurances that your contractor gave us, because I myself told you, like, you're in violation.
Right.
We agree that you're in violation, which is why you're not in a position at this point, after you've actually cured the violation by vacating the mobile home, to then go back and restart the violation. That creates a whole new issue. And so from our perspective, the last time you were here, your contractor made every assurance that you would be nearly done at this point. We were expecting a certificate of occupancy to be imminent, and what you're telling us is that your house is in pretty...
well, it's not going to be done for 3 more months.
And so
period.
I think that you might find yourself in a position where you were told that we may consider an additional 90 days, seeing no significant progress. That's pretty unlikely, just to be clear.
Right.
So we have no reason, because at that point you then come back and ask for another 90 days and another 90 days and another 90 days, and without seeing any
Well, that would
material
have been
progress.
the last 90 days would be now, regardless of what happens.
Well, no, but progress that we expected was certificate of occupancy. That is the milestone, and that's what we mean by progress. And at this rate, this is we find flexibility and reasonableness because we understand that temporary housing in particular is hard to find. But in a situation where that is somewhat taken advantage of, and we're not actually at the point where we should be, and not at the point where your contractor said that we could be, we are not materially in the same place that you said we would be 90 days ago. And that is what
Well,
has changed.
I didn't say that.
Sir, what were you living in when you came here? What were you living in at that time?
Before what?
The camper.
You were living in a camper
Right.
and you vacated. Why did you vacate?
They had
power
to
shut off.
move all the utilities on the outside of the trailer, on the side of the house, so they had to turn all the power off. So there was no power at all. Well, yeah, they were working, they had generators. But I had to
But you
move,
couldn't live there.
and so I moved to the hotel.
I mean, we can, do you have anything else you need to say? Because we're not going to make, do we have to make a decision right now?
Well, so as far as I'm concerned,
Close
as
the
far as
hearing.
I'm concerned, he's already vacated it. So if he goes back into it, he's
Yeah.
going to create another issue
new
with
violation.
Bob. So right now, he has.
That's the way I'm
That's the way
understanding
I
it.
see it.
I do
We-
too. I see it that you've already vacated it. you did what we've asked you to do, that by the March, we would have an answer, and that answer is that you vacated it. You can go and apply for occupancy of some sort. I don't know if you can get that. I have no idea.
I
But
doubt
right
it.
now, that's a totally, you met our criteria was to vacate. You did that.
So I can't appeal this again, I take it.
This one's done, I believe. So
Do
we're-
you need to close that one
We need to
out
close
vote
it.
it? and
Yep.
then-
I get it.
But as far as,
But as far as I'm concerned, he's been out there for 6 weeks.
Right.
So
But you want to uphold, like,
Yep.
you didn't vote it yet.
We didn't decide one way or the other whether or not we didn't make a determination on the building commissioner's decision to issue a violation. We had punted it for
I
90
would-
days.
So I would
let's close that.
close
Close that and
no
make a
violation at this
determination.
time.
Yep. Chris, do you have anything to say?
No, I think that's the correct direction.
Okay. So,
We were expecting him to be completed with the house.
Yep.
As you say, he's already vacated the trailer, so he should not move back, otherwise there'll be another violation.
yep. It'll be a new violation. Let's,
violation.
I make a motion that, we close the hearing on this and uphold the, without punishment, the decision by the commissioner.
So we find consistent with the building commissioner's interpretation.
We do. We find that consistent with the building commissioner's interpretation. We're standing by that. No fines.
There was a violation, but the violation has been cured, in
Yes.
short. Okay.
Yep.
So I did draft a decision.
Great.
So,
So we're going to close it first.
yep, we're
Yeah.
going to close it.
All right.
All in favor? Let's have a second
Well,
on that motion.
excuse me, the trailer can still stay there as long as I'm not
As long
living
as it's
in it.
not occupied,
Correct.
you can keep a trailer
Storage is
on.
legal.
Storage of a trailer is legal on the property.
Right.
Just can't be lived in. All in favor?
Second,
So this is just to close the hearing.
This is to close that hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. We have a decision and you will,
Want to deliberate and go with the motion to sign decision, or do you want to deliberate at the end of the meeting?
let's deliberate at the end of the meeting, but
Okey-doke.
but
All
we'll
right, so we'll come back to it.
we'll come back to it at the
Okay.
end.
Okay.
And we'll have something signed for you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you,
See you
sir.
later.
All righty.
Thanks, Eileen.
Yep. All right, 33 Turner Street.
We do need to open the public hearing.
Read this one in.
Yeah, read
And I'm
it.
going to recuse myself on this because this is a neighbor of mine.
Okay. Enjoy the hallway.
Somebody want to make a motion for 33 Turner Street, or do you want me to?
Well, somebody, yeah, who's gonna?
I make a motion that we open the hearing for 33 Turner Street, an appeal of the building commissioner's violation to not allow a mobile home to be parked on site while home is under construction.
You want to waive the reading first before you get?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the applicants, do we have an applicant here?
Yes.
Do you waive the reading of the notice?
Yes.
The notice is what was published in the paper. It's notice is hereby given in accordance with chapter 40.
No, actually, I think you should.
Oh, okay.
Do I have that?
I've got it right in front of me.
You want to read it?
Sure. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws and any and all amendments thereto, that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals in Room 124, Norfolk Municipal Building on Wednesday, March 19, 2025 at 7:10 p.m. The application by Michaela and Christian Puddock, alrighty, for an appeal of the building commissioner / zoning enforcement officer's decision in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section A, total banger, and the Norfolk zoning bylaws 310-6.5, subsection E, mobile home. The property is located at 33 Turner Street, reference assessor's map 16, block 34, lot 224, in the R3 zoning district.
Thank you.
Oh, should we sit?
Yep, go on over there.
Just use a microphone, because they see you on TV.
You might have to
Oh, okay.
only.
Just give your name and address for the record. Sure. And for our
has-
viewing public,
it's on.
both of them.
My name is Michaela Puddock, and I live at 33 Turner Street, Norfolk.
Yeah, my name is Christian Puddock, also 33 Turner Street.
So what's going on?
So we received a violation for a mobile home on the property that violates the zoning bylaw. I think the first basis for our appeal is that we want to understand why the particular reference of mobile home was used, because there is a legal definition of mobile home, and we wondered why the reference wasn't to a travel trailer or camper, which is actually the legally owned and registered appliance which is installed on the property. So that's the first basis. There does seem to be some legal precedent around terminology here, and just kind of first point of just clarification of why it's referred to as a mobile home. The violation requests removal of the mobile home, and as a legally owned and registered trailer, we want to understand what the legal basis for requesting removal of the trailer is. Kayla.
Are you living in it?
Yeah, we're residing in the trailer as we get a full remodel done of our property.
Okay.
So, and you own the trailer?
We legally own the trailer, and it's registered under Department of Transport.
Yeah, that's it.
So just a quick point, because I read your memo. The only definition that we review at this board is the definitions that are in our zoning bylaws locally. So those are the ones we are stuck with, whether they are good ones, thorough ones, well-written ones, or otherwise.
But the question really
and
is...
so that is why it's,
Okay.
per the interpretation of our building commissioner,
Sure.
you have been determined to have
Okay, we have a question on that basis, because we've studied those bylaws in great detail, and we did not see in any of that information what Norfolk's definition of a mobile home is.
There is a circular reference in the definitions to trailer homes and mobile homes. Wheels. We went through this, as you said, as you noticed, there was a similar case earlier, so we've recently, very recently had this discussion also with town council.
I'd be interested to know where we could find that, because I did very thorough research.
Our meetings are televised, and so it's on our YouTube channel.
No, I'm not talking about the previous case. I'm talking about the Norfolk town's definition of what a mobile home is.
Our zoning bylaws are also available online.
I know.
And I understand that you're saying, I understand how you feel about your research, but we are here with
Section 310, number 19. It's called a trailer home, including a mobile home. And the definition is a structure used as a dwelling mounted on wheels with at least one axle. Structure may be either mobile or standing on fixed supports.
Okay, but your definition then just said trailer home, including mobile home.
Or, including mobile home, yes,
Right.
including.
So we have the melding there of two titles with a broad definition of what they would be, but nowhere in it does it say that Norfolk's definition of a mobile home would include a travel trailer.
So just so we're all on the same understanding, right? No issue living, you can stay in your travel trailer 30 days in Norfolk. You go over 30 days, that's considered your primary residence.
Right.
That's not allowed.
But the
That's not
That's not what
allowed.
our violation is.
That's going to be not allowed under multiple
That is the
codes.
violation.
No, the
No. The
violation
violation is
says-
stated within the letter that we were issued.
I understand,
We
but
understand.
that is the meaning of your personal camper is considered a mobile home to the town bylaw. It's a box with axles under it. It's a camper. You're living in a camper. It's
agree
not
with
your
living in a
primary
camper.
It's not the primary residence.
And because of the way that of the way that is worded, mobile homes and travel trailers, for all intents and purposes in our regulations, are interchangeable terms.
And does
And I understand that your research
that
doesn't
information
like
is
it.
not accessible to people of the town of Norfolk to see that.
Mm-hmm.
If I look for the legal definition within federal law and within legal precedent, it is very clear that travel trailers are not mobile homes.
And that is certainly an interpretation that you are welcome to have, but our building commissioner typically has a different interpretation from yours, and that's what we're here tonight to see whether or not we agree.
And I would take it to one step further. It goes from being a travel trailer when you live in it more than 30 days. And that's where Norfolk has, it's a 30-day in a travel trailer you're allowed to do. Anything over 30 days, you're not allowed to do, and it becomes a mobile home.
You will then trigger, because you are residing in it permanently, you start to trigger electrical, plumbing, health, safety, sanitary codes.
Understood, but if you look at what we've received here, we have been told that we are not allowed to have a mobile home on the property. There is nothing in there that talks about our residence in that or the duration of our residence.
Yeah. And the violation specifically orders us to remove the mobile
The second sentence of your notice of violation says that it doesn't allow for the regulations do not allow for someone to live in the mobile home.
Right.
What document is that?
This is your notice of violation from the building department that you received that started this endeavor. It's the second sentence.
So does the zoning board have the remit to legally request that the travel trailer is removed from the property?
No, you just can't live in it.
You just can't live in it.
Okay, but
In reality, what it's considered a mobile home as you are residences of it.
Okay.
As soon as you vacate it, it's now a travel trailer again.
It's like a car on your property versus.
We're not saying you have to get rid of it. We're saying you can't live in it more than those 30 days.
And I agree with that wording that it doesn't have to be removed.
Okay.
So, if it was a manufactured home and it was brought in, so typically in this town, if we have a house that burns down, or we have a house that has water damage, a torrential,
The God only knows clauses of insurance.
Right, and the insurance claim is going to be 2 years. You gotta have the people hook up. But what they do is they bring these in, they actually run a sewer line over to the septic system, they run a water line to the water. So they meet the Board of Health requirement, and they can live in that. It's a dwelling unit. A travel trailer has a little tank. I mean, how are you gonna deal with that tank when it's full? You're gonna,
The facts become
it's
different
just
when you
that
have to do weekly maintenance
it's
and
not
the.
allowed for more than 30 days.
Okay.
Okay?
But you can see our confusion.
I
Yes.
totally get the
100%.
confusion.
Okay.
And we find 90 days to be reasonable to
I
make.
understand that. It just appears to me
arrangements.
from reading it
So,
that because there is the inference here that it's not allowed to be on the property and that it would need to be removed,
No.
that to me means that you are talking about a structure that would require permit, which our structure does not.
Only if you're living in it permanently, which is
Only
after
if-
30 days.
right.
At that point, it does require those permits, and
Okay.
that's where you start having
I would
issues.
really invite Norfolk to be a lot more specific about their definition of mobile home.
We would too, believe me. These are in tough shape, we
So
get
I
it.
guess the biggest question is, where are you at during this? Like,
Yeah, how's your construction going?
I mean, we're not disputing the fact we're living in a travel trailer during some home renovations.
Yeah.
Okay. We found it extremely difficult to find alternative accommodation within the town limits. We have young children
Or
who
outside the
attend
town
school,
limits.
I get it.
or even outside the town limits as well. There's a significant economic impact if we were to try to find alternative accommodation outside. This suits us right now. The trailer is modern it's safe. It has fire alarms, smoke alarms, CO alarms.
I get it, but
How often are you getting it pumped? How are you dealing with the tanks?
No,
Yeah, we
it
don't
doesn't
care.
matter.
You're right. It's not our,
That's-
it's not our business, sorry. They're
I
right.
just wanted you to tell me
Go
that
into
you're
that.
gonna be done next week. Are you gonna
So
be done next week?
We're going to be done soon.
We're going to be done within 90 days. I'm partly joking with you.
I still think, I know you hate it. I think it's reasonable. It's not easy.
Let me tell you where we are. And I just want to give you a little bit of a background to what we've done to the property. The property was built in 1980 and it had absolutely no major updates done to it in that time. We have taken the entire house back to the studs. We've put in geothermal power to the house. There is no fossil fuels being used. New roof, new siding, new windows. It's essentially a brand new dwelling that is completely up to code. So I just want everybody in the room to understand the amount of work that has gone into this project to make it happen. To that end, all external works have been done to the house. Internally, we now have walls that are plastered, we have ceilings, and we are about to have bathrooms put in and a kitchen put in. There is a minimal amount of plumbing work that needs to take place. All electrical has taken place except for the fitting of lighting. So that's where we are at the moment. I would anticipate that we will be able to get a document of occupancy or certificate of occupancy within the next month or two, but I would prefer to be given the amount of time that is required to do the project properly and for us to move into a livable, safe dwelling.
Sound like Patty and Selma on the
Do we have any questions from neighbors or
Yeah, has
butters or
anybody
anything?
got any issues?
Yes.
Yeah? Let's see it. Oh,
State and name, have a microphone.
Good evening, Tim Martin, 40 Turner Street. I live across the street from these folks, and we have a budding property also. And they're wonderful neighbors. I never would have known they were living in the trailer until somebody else told me. And there's been no noise. I put it early, so no noise, confusion, anything like that. In fairness to these folks, anybody else in town, the bylaw is a gray area, I think. And I spoke to Rich about this off the record. You know, the town, we may pursue a bylaw change or do something like that. But these folks relied on the bylaw and they're living in a trailer. They're not living in a mobile home. They didn't try to circumvent the bylaw. They're wonderful neighbors. They're probably doing the green energy thing, the whole stretch energy code. Today we are allowing ADUs out there. In fact, the builder has to put a porta-john out there. So we can have a porta-john. Yet these people can't live on their property in a trailer during that time in a safe, healthy manner. It keeps the property safe, it keeps the housing there, it keeps their family intact with their children. It creates no nuisance for me. There are other neighbors here, maybe they have a different opinion. So I just asked the board to try to find a way to accommodate this as a board or a town. Let's work towards a bylaw that makes sense so that even I can understand it. Because I can't understand this bylaw, the application of it. I think it's unclear, and I think it's creating a problem. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
anyone else?
My name is John O'Rourke. I live at 38 Turner Street across the street. These folks came to us before they had put a shovel in the ground to explain what was going to be going on, requested their attention to the sensitivities of all of us was remarkable. And they could have just had a digger come in and all of a sudden I can't get out my driveway. No, they took care of all those kinds of concerns. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand the statute language. but I do understand that this is a family that wants to develop and stay in Norfolk and is willing to cooperate. That's all I have any to say. Anybody want to ask me any questions? And we're not related.
If we
It'd
were,
be okay if you were.
we would have probably moved in with them.
Oh.
There you go.
You don't need to be familiar. You don't need familial relations to live together. Co-housing is cool.
Cohabitation.
Anybody else?
Anybody else have
Anyone
anything
here?
else they want to say?
Nobody else? I think, you mind if I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we'll take this under advisement and review this at the next meeting in 30 days,
Okay.
okay? I think, we'll
Is that all right?
continue this until next month. And there'll be no fines until then.
I'd be more than happy with that. I just want to be
Well,
absolutely sure that we don't come in 30 days and somebody says there was an expectation that we'd be out in 30 days.
Well, I don't want
You didn't. This is a slight. Every case has very different facts
I
associated
just
with
wanted
it.
to make it very clear before we left the room.
I believe that you. I mean, if you come back in 30 days and you make no progress, you may have a similar.
You will
If we
have
make
this.
no progress, I will have a massive issue.
If you made no, yeah. If after 90 days, you know, we might
I'm
view it a
thinking
little
she's
bit
got
different.
kids living in a trailer. She's
Yeah,
gonna
I
have
think
progress.
you're probably pretty motivated.
I would be delighted to come back here at 90 days and say that the violation is 100%
It's done, it's
resolved.
cured, it went away.
That would be my goal. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
you could even get a temporary CO. at
We've
that
not been
point.
in, you know, our
So,
goal here isn't to make
one-
everybody
one-
homeless.
a temporary CO, so one working toilet, one kitchen sink,
That's good to know.
one stove.
Yeah, that's good to
Okay?
know.
If you have a washing machine hooked up, you have to have a washing
Yeah,
machine.
that's
You don't have to have all the bathrooms done, you don't have to have, you have to have one operating.
That's incredibly helpful.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if you get a temp CO, it would be a
That'll buy
very-
you time, you're in good
You
shape.
have not lost CO because you owned the house before, so you didn't lose occupancy. It's not like you're going for a new house occupancy. So I believe you still have a certificate of origin for the house.
Yep.
That's good
But
information.
I'm gonna take some time to review that.
A whole stud's in, they might need
Next
a new,
month.
new
So
CO.
next month, we'll have a little bit more information
Yeah.
on the CO thing,
That
but,
sounds perfect.
but in reality, let's continue this hearing. I make a motion that we continue this to next month,
Yeah.
which would be April, for 7:15,
We could do 7:10.
7:10, 7:15, 7:10.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good luck over the next
And,
month.
and I am sorry for the confusion. We are hoping to rectify this because
Okay.
you're not the first one to have this issue.
No.
So-
Thank
so
you, sir. Thank you
you're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you. All right. Moving on.
Look at you, finding flexibility. Yeah, we won't tell on you at work. We won't tell the other building
You
inspectors.
can't give them 90 days.
That's new.
That's the problem I had with the other one.
Oh, yeah, with
Give
the
them
opening
90 days and you
yeah.
got nothing.
So you need to open up,
Sorry.
60 River Road.
Yeah, I'm wondering,
So we're gonna
did we
just-
close
we need to
33
continue
properly,
that.
or
We're
we
gonna-
just
we're gonna
continued it?
continue
We just
that.
have to take a,
Emotion.
did we lose Chris?
Yeah.
At least okay.
All right,
Let's take it, let's make a motion to continue that till April 16th at 7:10.
7:10.
Second it? Anyone? Anyone?
Chris Metcalf, I'll second it.
There you go.
All right.
You need a real one
Let's-
for that.
Let's take a roll call.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
Anybody?
Mike Brogan,
Thank you. All right, now let's open 60 River Road, a variance. Do we have something we can read for that one?
Yeah, it's a plan.
The notice.
Oh, no, that's Leland, I'm sorry.
Donde.
I got one.
Beauty.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws and all amendments thereto that a public hearing is being held tonight, Zoning Board, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, in Room 124, 1 Liberty Lane, Norfolk, the applicant Leland Wild.
Nope.
Nope,
No.
this is
Yeah,
wrong.
we're doing 60 River.
60.
We're doing 60 River Road.
Yep.
Yep.
60 River Road. That's all right. I don't think I have a 60 River Road.
Notice of hearing there.
I think we have.
Yeah, I got 2 Lelands. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have 2. I have
Put it up
2.
on the screen.
Do, 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 do.
Do you have the road?
No, I don't.
I'm looking for River Road.
Put it up on the screen.
All right. We're having a little technical difficulty. We're gonna put it up on the screen so I can read it, so it makes it all official.
We continue then.
Oh, we probably don't have it in the packet because they request to continue.
That's why it's not in the.
But you still got to open.
I still have to open it to
Yeah,
continue it.
I now understand what's happening at least. I did not read the full sentence, folks.
Bear with me.
Do, do, do.
The hustle just popped into my head and now it's in there. Read the notice.
I would if I had it. Yeah, if I was a homeowner, I think I would have a hard time if I was trying to obey the law and read through the zoning. I can put a camping trailer on my property. I'm gonna live in
Can
it.
you read that okay? Or-
You are a homeowner.
But I'm not putting a camping trailer on my property.
There you go.
All right, yep. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Chapter 40A of Massachusetts General Law that on March 19th, Liberty Lane, they're requesting a variance to allow a structure in excess of 2 1/2 stories pursuant to Mass General Law 40A, number 10, as amended, and Norfolk Bylaws, Section 310.5.1.b, Schedule of Dimension Requirements. The property is located at 60 River Road, Assessors Map 4, Block 27, Lot 8, R2 zoning district. Application materials are available at the office. Let's open the hearing. Anybody have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chris Metcalf, you still there?
Yeah, Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
All right. Now, I'm going to make a motion to continue that to April 16th.
What time? I think that one's going to be
7:15. That one's going to be a 7:15.
Lucky
I think
7:15.
these are all gonna be 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
I'll second your
It
motion.
allows us to take them in the order, whatever, yeah. Gives us flexibility.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Chris?
Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
All right.
Oh, beauty.
All right, 740, 39 Leland Road, special permit, section, demolish and replace an existing non-conforming deck. Somebody want to make a motion to open this hearing?
Read that one. Yep.
Mike, would you read that for us? No? All right, I tried.
Here's a copy.
Tim, you wanna make a
Copy
motion?
of that guy.
I'll make a motion that we open the hearing for 39 Leland Road.
You gonna read it, or you
Oh,
want to waive
sure, I'll
it?
read the notices. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Chapter 48 Mass General Law and any and all amendments thereto, that a public hearing will be held by the ZBA at room 124 at the Norfolk Municipal Building on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, tonight, for the following application. Deborah and George Tatnall at 7:40 PM for a special permit pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 9, in Norfolk zoning bylaws, Section 30-6.4 sub 2, alteration of an existing non-conforming structure. The property is located at 39 Leland Road, Assessors Map 4, Block 11, Lot 31, in the R2 zoning district.
Thank you.
Hearing's
Do I
open.
hear a second? Or do you, second to open?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Chris Metcalf, aye.
No, they don't need that.
Josephine Kordahi, aye.
Michael?
Thank you.
You share that, Mike.
Okay.
All right. Do we have the applicants here? I do believe. If you introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, and
Name and address for the record.
George Tatnall, 39 Leland Road.
And Deborah Tatnall, 39 Leland Road.
well, thank you all for coming. Thank you for following the correct steps in getting here. So what do you want to do?
So this small cottage that we purchased about 8 years ago had a deck on it at the time that was probably already, 25 or 30 years old, in pretty rough shape. Obviously, it's only gotten a little rougher over time. Took some pictures just to give an idea of the current deck. This, I don't know if you're going to be able to zoom, just it's not in good shape at all. And so we would like to, there's nothing that can be salvaged. This particular picture is showing how the deck ends, the railing comes right in the middle of a window, because in our application, we would like to extend the deck the full width of the back of the house, partly so that we don't have this issue. The railing currently is shorter than code, so the new railing would be even higher than that. So on the plot plan, the diagram that we submitted, it's to, the new deck would go all the way to the corner of the house. Obviously, everything we do here this is a 50-foot wide lot, so every single structure on it is going to be with more than closer than 25 feet from the property lines on either side. That's, in a nutshell, what we'd like to do. It's poorly constructed underneath, the footings. There's nothing salvageable about the deck.
Looks like a nice deck.
Yeah. You mind if I ask a couple questions?
Yeah, you can ask some questions.
So I'm assuming that this gray shaded area is the existing deck?
Yes, I guess that's in black and white, yeah. And
then this outline here is going to be the new deck.
Is the new deck, correct.
So in all reality, you're maybe encroaching this only another foot, but it's not as much as it's already encroached on the line.
Correct.
Okay? And then here, you're adding a little bit here, right to the front, but you're getting further away than you are getting closer.
Correct.
So this is the only place that you have an issue with encroachment, because it's a non-existing condition, right? It's a pre-existing non-conforming condition.
Correct.
And they're not particularly exacerbating
They need to
it.
rebuild the deck for safety reasons,
Correct.
period.
Correct.
So, and putting the addition on it to the left side
I like a railing
encroach.
that doesn't anchor to a window.
No, but it doesn't encroach.
It doesn't make it more non-conforming.
Right, doesn't encroach more than the dwelling,
Correct.
all right?
They don't
So
kick-
the only thing that they've encroached by is that little bit of a pie sliver there. And that's probably just to get it squared off the house, to be honest.
Oh, and then they don't have to dig up that footing. They can just sink a new footing next to it.
Yes, the footings will all be new, but it is that we have the engineering plan in process, and that is why there's an extra foot or so there.
And these neighbors here, first of all, their house and their deck is back up here.
Yeah.
And they knew what we were doing and they said, don't worry.
Is anybody,
Is there anybody here in the peanut gallery for this hearing?
anybody here?
Any neighbors for this
Anybody
deck?
online?
39 Leland Road.
39 Leland Road.
Anybody here?
None of you are excited about this deck?
No, the neighbors on the side where it is within 5 feet said, we're not, it's fine, we don't even need to be there.
Well, it's kind of always been there, so.
Yes, exactly.
You're not
Do we have a
really.
decision for this one?
We do.
Oh, cool. Good news.
You want to close the hearing?
If you're okay with us, we're going to close the hearing and we'll have a decision for you to probably pick up tomorrow.
Enjoy your deck.
Enjoy your deck.
I think it's going to go well
Okay.
on the decision.
Thank
All right.
you very much for doing.
I make a motion to close the hearing of 39 Leland Road.
Second?
All in favor? David
Chris
Ackberg.
Make bye. Oh,
Good job, Chris.
yeah, right on top of you.
You are. Good job.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine.
Josephine Kordahay, aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Enjoy your deck.
Now you can do Leland Wild.
All right. We're getting there.
Right on time now.
All right. 7:50. Look at that. We're a minute late.
We're gonna be ahead of schedule next. Bang, bang, bang.
On community TV at all, there's a lot of people that couldn't make it.
Yeah, it is. It's on.
It's on.
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
It's being live streamed.
NCTV live stream all town meetings on the YouTube channel. Link youtube.com Norfolk Cable. There you go. Right there.
We're all TV stars tonight,
wow.
everybody.
Check this out. We've got sheets of paper and
Too much paper.
flip boards and everything
I
else.
haven't seen a full-size set of plans in a while.
All
We
right.
almost used the phone tonight, guys.
Tim, can you make a motion to open the hearing on this?
I make a motion that we open the hearing on, regarding Leland Wild Foundation off River Road.
They want to construct a nature center within the floodplain protection district.
Yeah, display the plans there too.
Okay.
So I assume this is at the airport,
Please, that'd be
Yes,
great.
I believe it's at the airport.
They waive it.
right? It's the airport property.
Do you mind if we waive the reading of the whole thing and just say, let's open this?
Yep, we consent to that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Second.
I'll second that.
All right, let's take a roll call.
Chris?
Hello, Chris.
Chris Metcalf.
Aye.
Aye.
David Ackberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahay, aye.
All right, so open.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrew Gorman from Beals and Thomas here on behalf of the Leland Wild Foundation. Joined with me this evening is Kyle Pribish of the Leland Wild Organization Foundation, as well as Susan Siegler of Return to Wild, one of the partner organizations of this presentation tonight. And also on the Zoom call is Paula Thompson, a civil engineer with Beals and Thomas, who is joining us remotely, and she may be trying to do some screen share throughout the presentation. So we're very excited to introduce this project to you. This is our first large permitting interaction with the town of Norfolk. We've been before the Conservation Commission previously for soil test pits, but this is really our first large permitting endeavor. Many of you likely recall this property as the old Norfolk Airport. We have River Road to the north here, Leland Road down to the southwest, Miller Street here to the southeast, and we have two major rivers. The Charles River is to the north of the property, and Mill River is to the east of the property, so it bounds and forms the line. Something of note, which I have highlighted here, is how much of the floodplain encompasses the property. This blue line I have highlighted here all the way to the east, connecting to both of these rivers. The floodplain protection district encompasses not entirety of the property, but a significant portion of it. This being the old...
Just say that, we can't see or hear you at all. You got our back to us and we're the abutters.
All right, thank you. I'll try to project a little bit better. I'll repeat myself. This blue line here is...
You want to use this microphone instead? Can you reach that or no?
That's fine. That's fine.
This one's picking up?
It's picking up? Okay, okay.
So this blue line here is the 100-year floodplain as established by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We have a floodplain of 136.7 on the property, and everything to the east of this line is within the flood protection district. So this is a very uniquely constrained property.
You following me? Yeah.
In addition to the floodplain district here, we have an abundance of wetland resource areas. So this is a project that will have subsequent Conservation Commission permitting. We have the wetland resource areas I have highlighted here in green. In addition to the wetlands, we have priority habitat. This is the orange line here from the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program.
So the property is very significantly encumbered by varied regulated areas. So when we're looking to devise the best placement for the nature center, something that came to mind is the existing runway. We have a large footprint of impervious surface that extends from the northern edge of the property here down to where my finger is, the edge of the priority habitat down here. So a primary purpose of this whole endeavor is to maintain the existing conservation value of the property. We have important bird nesting habitat in the open fields. We have bobolinks, killdeer, savanna sparrows, and various species that use these open field areas for nesting. And as part of an effort to conserve that space to the extent possible, we want to site the nature center within the footprint of the existing runway. So in essence, we want to use the existing impervious surface. Not only is the runway itself impervious, the runway also has a bituminous concrete median strip that extends even beyond the footprint of the runway. There's bituminous concrete on the north side here. So you're probably wondering why these plans were so massive. Part of the reason is we wanted to include the overall master plan to the town of the Leland Wild property, which extends beyond the ask here to site the nature center within the floodplain and its ancillary structures. So we've included virtually everything we anticipate showing to the various town boards, which includes areas reserved for outdoor classroom space. It includes parking improvements both off of River Road here and parking improvements off of Miller Street down here. So those are on some later sheets, but before I turn the presentation over to Kyle, I do want to draw attention to the footprint of the Nature Center. So this is the northern portion of the property. I'm going to try to tilt it a little bit better so people can see. So I have the floodplain line here. This is the flood protection overlay district in blue. And we have an existing runway which ends here at where these white pines are coming through the concrete. And you probably, if you've ever used the property for conservation purposes, have seen cars parking parallel to River Road here. This envisions also a on-site parking to alleviate some of that traffic backed by a farm gate. We do have some stormwater strategy, which Paula can speak to if we have any questions, which involves rain gardens for stormwater management. In addition, we're actually planning to remove portions of the runway, so the whole eastern side of this runway here is going to be sliced in half. So that's as part of our strategy to reduce the impervious surface on the property. So ideally, what we're asking the board for here is a variance to the flood protection overlay district's restriction on new construction. And what that will allow us to do is avoid working within the bird nesting sites and the agricultural features on the western portion of the property, and will allow us to contain the nature center and the ancillary structures within the footprint of the existing runway. So I do want to invite Kyle from the Leland Wild Foundation to say a few words, and then we'll turn it over to Susan.
We have to say yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm Kyle Perbish. I'm Executive Director of the Leland Wild Foundation. I don't know if anyone is super familiar with Leland Wild Foundation. There is a website, which I haven't really put out there for everyone yet, just because I was looking for those typos you never can find, but I guess I'm here and saying it. So if you go to lelandwild.org, you can learn a lot about Leland Wild, the history of the property, our hopes for the future. There are tools on there also for educators or anyone visiting the property, where you can sort of, like, if you find a plant or an animal or you're curious or a bird sound, there's lots of resources to sort of reconnect people with nature and sort of get the most out of it as possible. Let's see, my Leland Wild Foundation the guiding principles are conservation, stewardship, environmental education, and wellness. Our whole hope is to sort of reconnect people with nature, in particular the next generation of environmental stewards. We're noticing that a lot of green spaces, I'm sure people are aware of, green spaces are disappearing, and urbanization is increasing, and technology is through the roof. If you have kids, you probably know that they have a screen in their hands all the time. So there's this whole benefit to sort of using the property. I think people that have grown up in the neighborhood have used the property forever. I know it's changed hands a couple of times. It came into our hands, gosh, I don't even know now, more than 10 years ago. And for a while, we were looking to just steward it temporarily and put it into the hands of a land trust. And what we found at the end of that time, and given my continued education in mental health with a concentration on the mental health benefits of spending time in nature, we decided to hold on to it and create a foundation to support this idea of inviting school groups to the property, inviting young kids to the property, to engage with stewardship activities, protect the wildlife of the property. There is a hope at some point to put a conservation restriction on the property. We can't do that until we figure out where buildings are going to go. And so that's sort of like a brief introduction into what we are, with sort of an invitation to check out the website, please, because I think you'll find a lot of really important information on there. I think there's a lot of different things I could talk about right now, such as the parking. I don't know whether you heard Andrew say, one of the things we hope to do is cut off the parking so this doesn't become like nature Disney World. We don't want it to be that. We hope to have signage that's like, hey, if the parking lot's full, come back another day. So the idea is that you have a positive experience on the property. I think if it's crowded, that doesn't work very well. So we've had the property for over 10 years. I think anyone that's in the neighborhood, you've probably seen an uptick in traffic because we've allowed the public to come onto the property and use it at their own risk and based on posted rules. I think we've done a pretty good job at managing that. And while there are more people out there, it's not filled with tons and tons of people. So I guess that's a little bit of background. I will add, Andrew he pointed to the grassland nesting bird habitat, which is important. We do manage that with our farmers to do a delayed hay cutting for that reason. We've had Audubon come in and do, I think it's Audubon Extension Services, did a couple of different studies on this property and recommended that we not plop anything in the middle of any field, because that immediately makes a bird, even if you have like 100 acres and you plop something in the middle, a bird is now going to look at 50 acres and 50 acres. And some birds like bobolinks aren't going to want to nest there. So one of the reasons we wanted to put this in the runway area. Last thing I'll say about the runway, and then I can answer any questions, is that one of our, when you think about spending time in nature, I'm looking around in this room, and without knowing anyone's history, seems like you could probably handle all of the trails on the property. Not everybody can. So when we first started thinking about how we could invite more people onto the property, we had this runway, and it serves as sort of an already built-in all-persons trail. So we hope to restore the runway using existing materials, return some of the runway back to grassland, and we also like the idea of having this nature center right at the end of the runway. I think it fits.
On River Road?
It's not on River Road. This is River Road.
On the River Road end.
Yep, on the River Road end. Yep.
Our end of the road?
Yep, on the River Road end. And the idea is that right from the doors of this nature center, you have the runway. So it's an all-persons trail that is unique to this area, covering lots of habitats, and with any hope in sort of a future phase of the project, we'd like to take some of that trail into the woods. So I think I've covered, I don't know, some basic points.
Question. Norfolk Airport has been around.
Oh, wait, excuse me?
Oh, yes.
We need a microphone on you, and you need to say who you are.
Name and address for the record.
And you need to go. You need to go through me.
I'm also
Just ask him.
You have
also
to ask
20.
I've never done this.
I'm just we're kind of informal, but we're not completely, because
Is this on?
I should have mentioned I'm at 23 Leland Road.
you are.
I don't.
You won't hear it like a
You're
normal
not going to hear
microphone.
it. It's on for TV. Everybody on TV can hear you.
Yeah, you're famous.
Cindy Zach, 42 River Road. I've been there since 1983. My next door neighbor has lived on the street all of his life. The Norfolk Airport has been 80 years old, and somehow we're ripping up history. I walk the airport every day that I can, and I see little parents taking their kids with tricycles, learning how to do tricycles. Bikers, that's the only place that does not get flooded. And to rip out the airport instead of embrace what it is and have some kind of celebration to the history of Norfolk Airport, I don't understand. I'm sure that Warren has a lot to say because he's poured over this. Go ahead, my next door neighbor.
Do you want to take?
He's not ready yet.
Do you want me to?
Typically, we let them finish their presentation before it goes to the public. You had one more person to speak. Can we let them speak, and then we'll let you guys have a blast?
Okay, so what do you want me to do with this?
Yep, you can just hold on to it.
You can hang on to it, or you can put it on the table with the clipboard. Did everybody sign in, incidentally? Don't be shy. You got to sign in. So if you didn't, that clipboard's your new bestie. Go touch it.
Thank you, members of the board. We're going to invite Susan Siegel to speak on this as well. She's one of the partner organizations that will be working with us as we look to utilize the Nature Center, and she'll speak to us about Return to Wild and the work that they do. I just want to stress that the runway itself is within the floodplain, and that's the primary purpose of our reason for being here, to request the variance. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Thank you.
We'll take our turn too. Don't worry, guys.
Dear members of the Norfolk Zoning Board of Appeals and the abutting residents of Leland Wild, I respectfully request your consideration of our support of the Leland Wild Nature Center project and the associated variance requests submitted before the Norfolk Zoning Board of Appeals. I am Susan Siegel, a Massachusetts licensed wildlife rehabilitator and founder of Return to Wild Wildlife Rehab here in Norfolk. We are a 501c3 Massachusetts public charity. The mission of Return to Wild is to rescue and rehabilitate injured and orphaned wild animals from our local communities and return healthy animals to their natural habitat. We provide expert rehabilitative care, necessary medical intervention, and a safe place to heal for wildlife from throughout Massachusetts. Our whole goal is to release these animals back to the wild. It is important to know that 90% of our admissions are a result of human activity, whether they be hit by car, habitat destruction, secondary rodenticide and lead poisoning, domestic animal interaction, as examples. We also intervene to prevent unnecessary suffering of animals when called upon. We engage humans, young and old, in wildlife care, conservation, and habitat preservation through community education programs and volunteer opportunities. Throughout the course of our work, we promote peaceful, joyful, and safe coexistence with the natural world. This benefits both wildlife and humans. Our work, giving orphaned and injured wildlife a second chance, and educating the community about the importance of native habitat preservation, is significantly aligned with the mission of Leland Wild. And it allows us to connect our community to the precious ecosystems and natural resources that surround us. The Nature Center plays a highly strategic role for both Leland Wild and their mission to conserve, protect, and educate, but also for that of Return to Wild. We are privileged to be allowed utilization of a portion of the planned building and property to achieve our vision of becoming a nationally recognized center of excellence for wildlife rehabilitation, conservation, and community education. Creating and sharing a state-of-the-art facility for community programs and wildlife care, all within the auspices of like-minded, fully committed, funded Nature Center, will allow us to together inspire current and future generations of wildlife and habitat conservation stewards. Please know that you will not find a more passionate, knowledgeable, respectful, and professional organizations to care for this gem. That is Leland Wild. That is the former Norfolk Airport. The Leland Wild Nature Center will be an asset not only to the land and the animals that call it home, but to our town, our state, and future generations to come. Thank you for allowing me to share our unequivocal support of this project.
Thank you, Susan. So again, we're very excited to work with Return to Wild as they are looking for a space to perform some of the wildlife rehabilitations as part of this Nature Center effort. So to round everything out, the primary purpose of our application here is seeking a variance, relief in the form of a variance to the Flood Protection District's prohibition on new construction, specific to this Nature Center here. And then the ancillary non-habitable structures. Lose my page. On sheet C407, we have a footprint here at one of the trailheads. We're seeking permission to have a non-habitable structure there in the form of a tool shed with a gazebo component. And then similarly at the end of the runway, I can hold it up. At the end of the runway down here. And these features are located within that 100-year floodplain. And the Nature Center itself will be compliant with building code. We will have 1 foot of freeboard above the base flood elevation, so it's 136.7, so we'll have 137.7 for the finished floor area. And with that, I would like to invite any questions or comments from the board.
What's your variance argument?
We have a highly regulated property where we cannot site the structure further east on the site, given the context of the on-site wetland resource areas. We have a natural heritage area, as was shown on the other sheet, that has kind of a horseshoe shape around the property. And we're trying to preserve as much bird nesting habitat as we possibly can within the field. Really at the heart of this effort and the decision to site the new structure within the impervious footprint of the old runway is to preserve as much of this nesting habitat as we possibly can.
The shed and gazebo, is that at the other end of the runway?
Yep. So
the opposite end of the runway?
So it's a place to store tools, access, and for trail maintenance.
What's the footprint?
You know what size that is?
Yep. The one all the way on the south is approximately 288 square feet, 12 by 24, and the one on the east is 128 square feet, 8 by 16.
Okay. Questions for the board?
Sure. Approximately how large is the entire parcel?
I think it's almost over 200 acres combined.
194.6 or something.
And how much of the impervious area do you intend to remove?
Yep, I have that number for you. It's gonna balance out. So we have 7,800 square feet new impervious proposed within the floodplain, and 7,800 square feet removed.
Okay.
As part of the effort for the runway removal.
And then you might have said, I might have missed it, on the Nature Center itself,
Yep.
how large is that?
Yeah.
The Nature Center itself is 52 by 92, so 4,784 square feet.
And how many parking spaces do you have here in addition to the bus space?
Yep, so we have 10 spaces here, and I believe we have 14 here I can count, but 2 of them are accessible.
Do we have recreation parking standards that have limitations, that have upper limits on it? Did we do that, or is that, okay,
No.
that's just a Medfield
Is
special?
this allowed in this area? I mean, just
Yeah, actually,
zoning wise?
Yeah, the zoning was changed by town meeting 21?
For the nature center use. Yeah.
For nature center use, okay.
Yes.
So they meet that criteria already.
Yeah, which will require a special permit through the planning board, so there'll be a separate additional permanent process.
What he's asking for is an allowance to put the building.
Allowance to do it in the floodplain.
So, I mean, I grew up there, right? So those buildings all on that asphalt, right?
Yeah.
All the airport.
Aircraft.
Were right there.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I've ever seen it flood, and I've been here 50.
There's no existing buildings left, right?
They tore down the steel building.
Correct. I think.
In reference to that, where is the old?
Do you know where that would have been?
Maintenance. Where's the old airport hangar?
I wonder if it was off of Tailwind. I'm not familiar.
There were some structures in what is
So
now
off of
Tailwind Circle, but
Where's-
there's some to the east of that as well.
Where's Tailwind?
It's to the map west. Map west this way.
Is that correct?
I can show
We have a
you
neighbor.
where the hangars were. I worked there.
Can you please?
Yeah.
Just
Lauren Beaver, 40 River Road, Norfolk. There was a hangar approximately in this area right here. And the main hangar was approximately, this is the building, approximately up in this area here. And the tie downs for the aircraft were all in this area.
Okay. That makes sense. If I remember correctly, when I was a kid too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We used to go over there and fly rockets.
All the time.
Yes.
I used to do everything on there.
The road that was currently here was actually pushed back quite a bit.
Okay.
They actually, there was a little area right here, a wetland called Rat Hollow, and they essentially filled that entire area up when they put the new road. And there is, when the Mazakowskis put the runway in, or when they helped with it, they dug a lot of trenches perpendicular to the runway off to the Mill River area.
Okay.
To dry out that area because it got wet all the time.
Sure.
It always did. The two, I don't remember the first one, but the first one was 55, and this was all flooded. And then in 68, this was all flooded again.
And that's the last time that was flooded?
68 was the last time, yeah.
Because I've been here since, okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen it flooded either.
Never.
Yeah. I remember it well.
Yeah, I bet.
I was one. So I don't remember it.
So those planes were underwater?
Everything was underwater.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we actually had to move our trailer up there because we lived right at the very end of River Road, so we couldn't go either direction.
That must be very comforting as you are looking to site a building to hear about that time it was underwater within memory.
That's right.
Am I allowed to respond to a previous comment, or should I not?
Yeah, you can. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Just to clear up something that seems like is a confusion, we're not that this has to do with the variance of the building, which is what this meeting is for, but we're not looking to remove the runway. We actually love the idea of the history of the airport, and if you go to lelandwild.org, you can read about that, and we speak to it. On one side of the runway, it's double wide, and it's unnecessary for riding bikes and walking. So the side that's on, if this is to your back, the side that's on the right, we're basically looking to match that on the left-hand side. And there is a little bit of opportunity to return some of that to grassland, but it's not removing the runway, and it's not giving a nod to the history of the property. And one of the reasons, I mean, I have kids that ride bikes there, and my friends' kids ride bikes there, and I've seen people out there with mobility issues on that trail, and that's the whole point of having the nature center there, is that you can still walk that runway trail, and have a paved surface that isn't difficult to navigate and still get out into nature, where there aren't as many opportunities around here to get actually out into nature and have it be a paved surface that still fits the property and speaks to visitors, wildlife, people that have lived there for years and years and years. So just in case anyone thought we were ripping up the runway, no, we were just cutting the wider side basically in half, roughly.
You need a microphone.
Ann Smith, 67 River Road. I'm not clear on where this will be located. Will it be down toward Leland, the end of Leland and Miller?
Give us a number across the street.
So this is 60s here. Somewhere around here, 60 River Road. So Leland Road is down here.
Right.
So this is this end. This is literally the runway right here. So this is this end of the runway. So are you familiar with walking in off of River Road? There's like a little dirt path.
Right.
That's right here. Dirt path comes in right here. So the reason why we added or want to add parking here is just there's people always parked sort of parallel all the way down the road. So it's just safer. And we actually looked at like coming in right off the road, but there's some bylaw that says we can't do
So
that.
the building would be where?
Just where, so if you're familiar with that, there's sort of this gravelly area where trees have grown through, or old tarmac or old pavement area, I don't know. So it will be right at the end of the runway.
Rich, can you pull up the TP1?
So you know how the runway like
map
comes
that
like
shows-
this? It's basically right where it does
Real
that.
pictures, I mean, not that, but a real picture.
Actual
taken at the
photos.
airport, actual
Photos.
That's great to me.
TP, hang on one second, and we'll show, that little plan that they're showing you is, we're getting to one, we're getting to the whole one. All right, so what they're showing you is, now this is harder to read, but they're showing you, here's River Road up here, here's your whole runway for the whole site. They're showing you just a little chunk up here.
That's where the building will be?
Yeah, when they're showing you that the big inset map, that's only on this chunk up here.
But there's...
So this is all the rest of the site, but the whole site is too big to show on one map when they're showing us where they're putting the building.
But do they have real pictures, not just that?
Not yet, I doubt it. These look like pretty rough plans.
I'm happy to show you on my phone pictures of where I'm referring to, but it's literally the end of the runway where the runway turns. That's where it is, if you're familiar with it. Then.
I was going to say, this is an aerial map. There you go.
Right about here. Perfect. Thank you.
So right about where my finger is.
Where's River Road?
River Road is this road right here. This is the Charles River to the north. And this is that concrete median strip. You can see what Kyle was talking about with the double wide easterly side of the runway.
So where will the parking go?
The parking for River Road side will go right up here.
Yeah, keep blowing that up, Rich.
Right
here, I want to see this.
So it'll come from the existing entrance over here. We'll have about 10 spaces right about where my finger is, and then a farm gate that will be locked when the building is not in use. And then more parking interior here.
So they'll have to take down trees to put in some of that parking.
We're partnering with Ethical Tree Service, who is going to help us relocate some of these white pines that are actually growing out of the bituminous cement. And they believe we're able to actually relocate them just to the west here.
And right now, it's used as an unofficial dog park. I mean, people go there to run their dogs. So will they still be able to do that?
So the property will remain privately owned, but I believe Kyle's intent is that it's open to the public for recreational use.
And unless there's ever a reason to change that, I mean, honestly, since I've sort of been in charge of the property over the last, like I said, 10 years, I should have that date in my head, I don't, sorry. That the biggest complaint, the biggest issue we ever have is dogs. And I've not given up on it. I'm trying to find, and I've worked with former leaders over at Audubon to sort of figure out the balance, because as you know, they don't allow dogs on their property. We're trying to find a balance to allow dogs. We do have seasonal restrictions, so when the grassland nesting birds are nesting, we ask that you definitely have your dog on leash. That's not only for the grassland nesting birds, it's because we're asking people to stay to the designated paths for that reason, and not everyone likes dogs. So have your dog close to you. I have dogs. I moved into the neighborhood for my dogs, and because of this property, actually. So when it was up for development or everyone was trying to do something with it, that's when we stepped in and decided to do something different. So I'll say the intention and the hope is to continue to allow dogs to be there. You can read all about it on the website, I promise you. If something were to happen that creates a huge liability for us as a foundation, you gotta do what you gotta do. But there is no plan to get rid of dogs. Like I said, I moved there with my dogs. And the Norfolk leash law is posted on the website as well, just to, if everyone needs to review that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is the entire parcel within the floodplain or just a portion of it?
A large portion, but Andrew could speak better to that than me.
The blue line.
Can you give me a rough on that, where it might, just a...
Does this have the floodplain layer? Is this the town GIS?
I can switch over.
It extends.
Just give me a second.
Yeah.
I will just caveat that this might be the FEMA approximation where we've actually had a certified floodplain cert, but they're almost apples to apples. Almost 2/3 of the property is
The portion that isn't floodplain is the portion that is nesting bird habitat. So they have a problem a little bit.
natural heritage.
The birds are not a soil problem, but they're a bird.
Gotcha. I guess that's...
Grassland nesting bird habitat is in super decline.
I mean,
Not really.
you know, it's not really, but the soil is... They might run into a setback
What the
issue.
property was used for originally.
I don't love building in the floodplain.
No, I just want to understand from the big picture how it...
Yeah, if they could over a little bit and get out of there, I think
no, that's
so.
fine, but I just want to see what, if it's 70% in the floodplain and...
Well, what they're proposing is 100% flood.
No, but I mean the entire site.
The
So
site,
this blue line is the floodplain. So everything to the west,
So
east
that way?
of this. So from,
to the right.
That's all wet. 90% of it's wet.
it's, we have a combination of wetland resource areas, some upland, natural heritage areas also on this side as well, the kind of horseshoes around the property. But the extent of the floodplain is this blue line here that I've just kind of highlighted.
Sometimes I don't know when I speak up whether I'm helping myself or not, but I'm just being honest, because that's what I've been with this property since the beginning. But there is an easement over part of the property from Army Corps of Engineers to sort of absorb flood, and so that's off to the east. But if anyone's interested in knowing that, it's actually there for flood storage, so it's designed that way.
What is that upland area?
So there's an elevated landform here. It's a little hill. A few trails transect it from the north, from the east, and this like horseshoe-shaped trail here. It's really an elevated landform that happens to get above the floodplain elevation.
Andrew, could you just reorient people as to...
Yeah.
Could you just reorient people as to where that elevation is in accordance with, this is River Road, this is Priscilla, this is...
Yep, so this is River Road here. This is River Road here, where my finger's tracing. The floodplain approximated on GIS is this line here. And we have an area inside of the floodplain that extends above that 136.7 elevation, and that's this area here. Why are we not citing a building there? Well, wetland resource areas, wetland crossings, a natural heritage area, it just...
Also brings you closer to the residents. Your neighbors to the left there?
Over here.
Oh, not over there.
Yeah, I was just talking about this area.
No, I'm still contemplating moving your building outside of the floodplain.
I don't know if
So
you
that
can.
you don't have flood risk, but
Yeah, I don't know if you
it
can.
comes at some other consequences.
I don't think you can move it outside of the floodplain.
You could do it, but it'd be higher impact
Yeah.
on the neighbors and the
All right.
birds.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to add? Yes, sir.
I have a couple of pages.
Oh, come on up. You have the microphone.
Yeah, again, Lauren Beaver, 40 River Road. I have, as far as the siting goes, this end of the property down the Leland end is relatively dry. And I don't know why it couldn't be, if it was going to be there at all, I don't know why it couldn't be located at that end. And if they were worried about taking up more impervious space, they could take up more of the runway to counteract that. So I don't know. I think that's a very bad end of the runway to put it.
Because of the flood zone.
Yes, because of the flood zone. River Road is a very small road. It's very windy. It's already bad enough there. There's no real way to walk up and down the road without being in the street. There's going to be more cars traveling up and down the road during the day. I'm assuming this is only going to be open during the day. It's not going to be open at night.
We haven't established hours yet, but it would have to be in accordance with what the zoning, what the use is for with the zoning.
And what days would it be open?
I don't believe we have that yet.
So just, Mr. Chairman, we just got to focus in on the floodplain.
We're focusing on a floodplain. That's really all we're here for.
Okay. No, it's,
I think Audubon is open dawn to dusk every day.
Just
if that
so,
makes a
just so
difference.
everyone knows, I live right there, so I'm very familiar with the floodplain. When my wife and I moved back, we were in Franklin for about a year and a half across from the lumberyard in Franklin. We came back in early 80s, 81, I think. We wanted to put an addition onto our house. It was a small 20 by 26 house, and they wouldn't let us because we're in a floodplain. Someone in the Conservation Commission at the time said, maybe you should pick your house up out of floodplain and go get it engineered. And that's what we did. And we went back to through all the boards in the town, and they were gracious enough to let us double the size of the house. And then because there was a small area between the house and the garage, they came back and said, well, now you had to attach that as well, so it became even bigger than the 50%. And again, this is very wet. I think this is my piece right here. And again, in '68, when we had the big flood in the spring, River Road was probably under, I want to say, at least a foot or two. We were floating down it in a makeshift boat. Pretty much all of the airport was flooded, including all of the runway at that time. I think it probably, in my mind, I would say that was probably larger than a 100-year flood. My own estimation. And the one previous to that was in '55, but I was only 6 weeks old. I can't tell you anything about that, but I do remember the '68 flood very well. At the time, at the end of River Road, there was only the one pipe going underneath, and now there are three. So that the three now allow some of that to that flood water to get down into from the Mill River area into the Charles. So that mitigates that end of the road. It doesn't. I don't think I've seen it flood there since '68, since they picked the road up and finished it. And again, this has always been wet. The further you get towards the Mill River, the wetter it becomes.
All right, so what I'm hearing you say is you had a question as to why you couldn't go to Leland Street side.
Yes.
And maybe we can give that to them as an answer. We're dealing with flood, and because they're allowed to build a building on the property.
Right.
And they're allowed to do some of those things, but they can kind of put it, as long as, if it wasn't in the flood zone, they wouldn't even be here. So that's why they're here, is because of the flood zone. So unless you have something else to say about the flood zone on that side, let's let him answer why it's not off the Leland Road and see what we have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the question. So we did go through a pretty significant alternatives analysis and looking at where we can possibly site this that makes sense ecologically and within the land use context of the site. The natural heritage area, I'm not sure if we can pull it up on this layer, but it does horseshoe around. So the closer to Leland Road we get, the closer we are to that priority habitat area.
But the priority habitat area is not a zoning concern in the same way that soils are, so we're going to stick to the floodplain.
Yep. On the topic of soils, we do have wetland resource areas here and hydric soils. We have a wetland system in this wooded area here.
That was all right. That's a nice place.
Hey, Chris, you're joining us casually.
If you could mute. Thank you.
Holler, let it hang out.
So really the current configuration of the property in relation to the flood zone pushes us into these core bird nesting sites. Cornell University called this piece of property a hotspot for avian species. And that's a primary purpose of what we're trying to achieve here in preserving these linear ecosystems on the western portion of the property. There's certainly some soil concerns closer to the wetland resource areas that would make this not applicable to us for design and development, as we would see with Conservation Commission, just as it affects us with the eastern portion of the property. But really using the existing footprint of impervious surface allows us to really avoid those key nesting sites.
At the risk of a building, though, building in a flood hazard zone.
So the building will be compliant with the building code for structures within the FEMA flood zone, so we will have that 1 foot of freeboard separation from the finished floor area to the base flood elevation. So we
You're
anticipate.
an engineer, though, right? You're familiar
I'm a
with...
wetland scientist.
Okay, you're familiar with the phrase, water always wins. It's a high hazard area.
I mean, because this is realistically what they're asking for is a variance into the flood zone to build a building so that public can be.
David, this is Chris Maypack. We had a similar example on River Road. That property was in the flood zone. How was that? Do you remember how we resolved that?
You guys approved it.
We approved it on stilts.
Yeah, you approved the single family on stilts.
Now, is there a difference between a property that is being used for a nature reserve as opposed to a homeowner's house? Is there a difference?
Building-wise?
No.
Yeah, well, is there a difference in the requirement for building in the flood zone?
Nope, there's no difference.
1 foot above the floodplain.
Yep.
The difference, though, somewhat comes in terms of use, because the building will be built for public occupancy and not a single-family home. So you'll see some different things.
Right, but
The septic system is going to, you're having plumbing, correct?
Yep, that is correct. We did multiple rounds of test pits.
Yeah, so
with
30 parking spaces and bus parking, it's not our concern, but altogether when we look at the cumulative impact of the flood hazard and what we're putting in the flood hazard, it is not just a building, it is building, parking, people, wastewater, water. It's the whole kit and caboodle, and electric.
I'm pretty sure when there's a flood, there's not going to be any people there.
I hope not, but you never...
Because it's not a residence.
But at the same time, all of this depends on a series of culverts working.
Correct. Correct.
That's a hell of a lot of faith. We know how I feel about hazard building, where I don't think it's the smartest thing that folks could be doing, and if they have a way to work around it, I prefer it. But that, I am only one person.
May want to go to the people who owns it.
Well, let me just reiterate what this site was originally used for. It was used for an airfield. There were hangars, there was a office.
I'm sure.
This seems to be
Scary stuff in that soil, just moving towards the
Excuse me, as far as the hangars go, they weren't in floodplain. The hangars, the hangars were at 140 feet.
So they were further out on the west side.
Yeah, they were up more.
They're in the bird sanctuary now.
I believe there was a building in the floodplain, though. Is that correct? Towards the end of the runway?
On the north side?
At the very end.
I know the floodplain did change too, probably. I think they reformatted the floodplain, I want to say about 10 years ago, if I remember correctly.
We added, there's some edits, FEMA edited and added hazard areas, but a lot of it's based on soils which don't change significantly over thousands of years. So
They did change it.
there's, especially on coastal and inland waterways.
So they're just looking for permission to build within the floodplain.
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody online need to say anything? I know there's a couple people down there. No?
Anybody else?
I don't see any hands.
Audience members?
Any more audience members? Oh, we need a microphone with a name, please.
I'm Sheila Meter at 54 River Road, and, the property is
Use the
private.
mic, please.
Sorry. The property is private, so theoretically, they could say, no one's going to use my property, and no one's going to have dogs out here. So I appreciate, at the moment, what you guys allow people to do. But I guess we're not talking about access on River Road today. We're only talking about the building and the flood zone. But oh my God, what's your name? Lauren. I'm just concerned about the traffic on River Road. Like, a beaver was killed this week at the beginning of River Road, right at the fishing zone. So and that's just with our regular parking, with not increase in parking. So I'm just concerned about that. But I mean, it happens anywhere, but River Road is a windy road. I live there. My kids biked on the airport. But again, I feel fortunate that I live across from there, that I can go cross-country skiing, that I can go, walking every day. And it's a beautiful place. The idea of a nature thing sounds great, but I'm concerned about parking and bus parking and more activity on River Road.
It's dangerous.
I just wanted to speak. I know that this isn't the hearing for that, but I'll give you my card when I'm done. I'm happy to have any conversation with anyone on the record about anything that has to do with this project. Andrew can tell you, I don't even know how many years we've been working with you, but if you're wondering about due diligence and researching I'm probably the most hyper-vigilant person you'll ever meet. So I have thought, and Beals and Thomas has done, Andrew in particular, a phenomenal job using all the resources. We've been at this I've been at this for 5 years, reviewing this property and finding, in my opinion, I guess, the best possible scenario. I just wanted to remind you, just so I can dispel a misconception or whatever about the parking. I just want to remind you that Andrew pointed out the gate that we are putting there. So that parking that's down by the proposed barn is there in case we have a speaker come in and do an environmental talk, or we have a school group come in and the bus needs to get up there, or maybe we open it up if someone needs to, for whatever reason, get a handicapped vehicle up closer to the barn. But the parking right there, there's a reason why we limited it to 10 spaces. I'm in the neighborhood too, and I'm on that property all of the time. You're going to see 10 cars up and down that street, so we wanted it to be more safe by pulling those parking spaces off of the street and putting them there, and then restricting, as I said before. We're not making it, nature Disneyland. That's not the point of connecting with nature, truly. And so we are limiting parking there. And similar to Miller Street, we're just taking it back a little bit further because you can barely fit a car right there. So it's not a matter of more cars or more traffic. and I don't know what the future holds, but it's been thought of, and we're trying to not have that be the case. So there literally will be a sign saying, hey, come back another day. I can't help if someone parks on the street. I don't know who polices that at that point, but we're just trying to remove the on-street parking, which is more dangerous, off the street, and taking that expense on.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yep.
Great summary, and that is the intent of the farm gate. I've, again, parked there myself. I understand how frequently the property is used. I would just amplify one point that was mentioned. This is a unique opportunity for us to preserve this much contiguous grassland habitat and still move forward with a nature center use on the property, confining it to the existing impervious surface. It's in the outer portion of the floodplain. I know that it's still within the floodplain, but we are able to build it in such a way that it will be compliant with the building code. And we will be going through beyond this, regardless of the outcome of this meeting, permitting with the Army Corps of Engineers, permitting with the Conservation Commission, permitting with the Planning Board. So there's going to be ample opportunities to discuss and deliberate on the various aspects of the project, but as it stands now, our primary purpose tonight is to request relief in the form of a variance to site the structures within the 100-year floodplain.
Okay. Without any...
Ask one more question? There's also a piece of property on the other side of River Road, which you folks own as well as this part here. Is that true?
Yes. I don't see the number on it, but it's approximately there. Do you know, Andrew, if what he's pointing to is ours?
Yeah, we've seen all this all engineered. There's also another piece of property in this area that I think they're trying to sell for like $45,000 with no guarantee that anyone would be able to build on it. So, and again, I live on the river. I'm afraid that this is going to get developed as well at some point in time, some kind of a boat landing or something of that nature.
That has... Thank you very much for... That's not
There's
a question.
no plans for that at this point, anyway.
That's not apropos for this.
Do you mind if we take a 5-minute break? I have not planned well. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to be real honest. I drank a whole water bottle.
We'll take a 5-minute break.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
This is my fault. I need a minute.
welcome back. Thank you for helping us with that 5-minute relief. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. What
about a flood zone?
We would have had a flood zone.
It would have been bad.
Unless anybody else has anything else to say, I think we can close this hearing, and then we can do some deliberating. Just curious, you have a beautiful parking lot area there that you're going to be putting in. You going to put any Tesla charging stations or anything like that?
At this time, charging stations are not
Just
being
wanted to
considered.
make it eco-friendly, you know.
And we, on behalf.
That's going to be terrorism. There are other brands we could go with.
There is a bylaw for that. Yeah, we're putting that in.
It's unbranded
proposed.
though. Other brands are out there. Other vendors are available.
So anyway, with that said, I think
I'm
we
gonna
could
say no.
unless we have anything else. I think I've lived in town or been a part of town since 1980 in my house. Prior to that, I was born in Norfolk and lived on Ferndale Ave. So I've been here forever, knowing that the airport was there. I helped Dave Burns at one time to hay it and everything else. So I mean, I know the property inside and out. I've never seen it flooded. It gets wet.
I have pictures I took just a couple weeks ago. I gave them to Lauren.
Yeah, no, you're talking, that's just local.
Yeah, that's just
vernal pool.
right.
He's
That's
talking about.
Yeah, I've never.
The Mill River coming.
Yeah, I've never seen. I've never seen
coming
that.
across the road.
Yeah, I've never seen that. But
68.
yeah, that was before my time.
Do
So
you think all those folks in LA
but-
saw the fires coming?
no, they didn't. But what I'm saying is I've heard of a lot of different projects that were proposed and thought of and everything else for this. To me, this sounds like a very nice work with the neighborhood, everything kind of project, one that you hope for. I mean, I live down the street from Jane and Paul's farm, and I mean, I hope that never goes to development. I know there was thought of as conservation at one point, and I don't know if it is. I have a piece of property that's, I hope it always stays open, but it could end up being something too somewhere in the future unless we find opportunities to keep the green space and the open spaces. So with that, we'll close the hearing, and then we'll deliberate, and we'll have a next meeting. We'll probably have a decision and everything. So I would suggest that maybe the board, in the meantime of the next meeting, go down, take a look, take a walk off of River Road. There is an access there, correct? Go in and see it.
With that being said, can we get some kind of identification stake put at the building? Can you put a stake there?
If you let us know ahead of time of the site visit, we can.
We can plan on within the next 30 days, all of us will go down there. So why don't you let us know when the stick is in place, so we get an idea of the building.
We're not going to go together as an official site visit to save you time.
So let us know, we can let them know.
In lieu of that, so I'm not trying to make this more difficult than it needs to be, but some of this is existing pavement, so it might be difficult to stake.
Or paint it.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. If we could do that and send photos so the board knows how to locate it.
Send them to Rich. He can get it to us.
Okay.
So we know where we're looking for. We just an idea.
It's a big site. That would be
It
helpful.
is. I mean, 194 acres and the landing field and all the field beside it. That's a big parcel. If we're not paying attention, we'll be halfway down the runway and go, where are they putting this building? While I'm walking my son's dog. So
I don't know if it's a conflict, but I'm happy to walk you all and answer questions.
As the applicant, you do not want to do that with the board members on a live application because you run the risk of ex parte.
we're just going to ad hocly go over and walk
I'm not
it.
showing you guys anything. So
So
don't
if
even
you could
ask.
just mark it out.
Yeah, and we'll send an email once it's all set, and the board can. Yep.
What about residents, if you would?
They'll be up to the applicant.
What's that? If you can go look at the pin? Of course you can.
Well,
Did be notified?
You're not
You want
gonna,
to allow that?
Well, it sounds like you already go out there.
yeah, it's already a public property. Yeah,
So they're gonna pin where the building's gonna go?
yeah, if you're gonna see it.
And once that is, then, yeah, you said you walk almost every day, you think you can, so you'll see it.
So
You'll know where it is.
Sounds a little
Tell
more
your
like
neighbor,
a paint
tell your
on
neighbor
the
when the
pavement
paint
where
shows
the
up.
edge is
so.
gonna be, but yeah, put it through the grapevine. You have what look like pretty
So you did a website?
accessible neighbors. They might even be willing to have all y'all on site on their own time to walk you through what they want to do.
You might even
If
want to
you
put it
wanna
on your
do that.
website, you know?
You know, if you want, you know, to have a community hootie-da, you don't need to involve us. Y'all can
I've
do
always
that.
been welcome. We've always taken the neighborhood into consideration with every single step of this project since we took over the property. And in fact, the previous owners didn't technically allow people on the property, although if you asked, you were told no. Although if you didn't ask, you'd just be out there. So I get that. We have gone to the extent of, making sure we're doing this the right way and invite the public to be there just as long as you enjoy the property as posted and at your own risk. So
We've got
I am happy.
A lot of permits coming up, a lot of boards to visit. Never hurts to have your neighbors out. Good weather coming.
I mean-
invite them out. Have some soda pops.
Yeah,
Show me plans.
we've had people to our house. We've talked to everyone in Tailwind Circle. I don't know everyone on River Road. My family is developing a property over there as well. So I'm happy. Thank you very much. So I'm very aware of River Road, and everything that we're doing is with that in mind as well. So I'm a neighbor on both sides of the field. And when I tell you that we have promised, we've done our due diligence in this project, we have. And you can call me anytime to talk about it. So if you want to set up a neighborhood meeting, I'm happy to attend and answer questions.
Is it chapter land?
Is that land chapter land?
I think so.
I don't think it's
Is that-
chapter
Is
land.
that chapter land?
I don't think.
It's 41.
Is that chapter 61 or?
61, that's what it is. I can't think of the
Is it
Yes.
61A?
So it is chapter land.
Yep, it is. Yep. We work with.
And you're still haying it?
Yep.
Okay.
We do a delayed. Should I
one
talk
of the
into this?
No, you.
We do a
we
delayed
know you
hay
do
cut
it.
for the grass
No,
and the carrots.
I
but yeah.
understand, but it is chapter land.
It
Okay.
is.
The thing about it, you keep saying you want to protect the birds, which I understand, but it's big property.
Yeah.
Can't that just go someplace else on that property? Why River Road?
Yeah.
Sounds like a
River Road,
good
it's
community
so-
meeting topic. We are.
We're not
Yeah, we're gonna
We're
continue.
closing our meeting.
Different question, why isn't that clock battery fixed?
That has never worked
I don't know.
in my
Twice a day.
tenure.
We
It's
can't
right
afford it
twice a
with the
day.
taxes.
I like that.
Can't afford it with the taxes.
I just,
All right, next.
All right.
We gotta get to the
Okay.
next
I'm going to
agenda,
make a
guys.
motion to close the hearing. Second. All in favor? Roll
Aye.
call, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Cordahian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
We're going to deliberate, and if you're so inclined, go out and see the property after he marks it. That would be great.
Cool.
All right, on to the next part of it. If you're going to have a conversation, please leave the room.
Outside.
You don't have to go home,
But you
get
can't
out.
stay
You're
here.
not
Stay
here
here.
for this for anything else.
In the words of the Blues Brothers,
You don't have to go home. You
You don't have to go home.
but you can't
can
stay
stay
here.
There's nowhere else in Norfolk to go.
can stay here.
Closed.
The
You're gonna have to have a
kitchen is
field
closed.
party.
And that's the way.
I'm not leaving Andrew. I'm just
I just got a new doormat that says, sorry, we're closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
do you have any appointments? We have some deliberations.
Yeah, we got decisions for the deck people.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have two. Well, so with Baltimore and Leland.
Okay. All right.
Baltimore, you had something written up, you said.
I did, yeah.
Well, Baltimore's already vacated.
Baltimore is already vacated, so all we're doing is
Saying we agreed with the
saying we
building
agreed
commissioner
with the
about the violation.
Yeah, so I
violation.
drafted a decision, deny the appeal.
Okay.
Beauty.
All right. All right,
that
what's the
have
next one?
language about how we've actually found that the violation is cured because he vacated.
I didn't put that in.
Okay, I think that language is important though, because
Because he's gonna come back, because he's going back to live in it.
that would be
So,
why.
I definitely want to see the verbiage in there, because when Bob goes again,
Yeah.
then the fines are double.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, let me just add that in, I'll send it out, you can just.
Of course.
Beautiful.
And then we can come by and
Yep.
sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leland Road.
Deck people is a slam dunk. Go
Yeah,
for it.
the 39 Leland Road, demolish and replace.
No.
Did you already write that one up?
I wrote it up. The only thing I had Joe, he's not here, so I swapped in Courtney. I put you on the other one, so.
Beauty.
Doesn't matter to me.
All right, so I just.
I could care less.
You just rocks,
You can
paper,
put it on
scissors.
all of them.
No,
my
it's
name's on it,
it's
the
more
better.
fun when we both come in and visit them.
Yeah,
to
well, I just
sign.
want to have 5 members on it, that's all.
That's fine.
All right.
Rich, you don't need to use me until you gotta use me.
So, we have no other deliberations at this point.
Well, yeah.
What other
Well,
deliberations?
no, you just got to vote on it, though, that's all. But
We got.
Vote on what?
We have to vote on
the special permit.
the Leland
I thought we're,
special permit for the deck.
oh, yeah, we can vote on that. I thought it was already a done deal.
Well, it is,
I mean,
but you got to vote.
We
it.
closed it, that's right, we gotta vote it.
Yeah.
Should we?
I make a motion to accept the 39 Leland Road special permit for demolishing the existing deck and building a better, more up-to-date conforming deck that doesn't go more non-conforming.
Meets the code.
It meets the code.
We're allowing them to enlarge
You
their
can't use
deck
that
as depicted on their plans.
Yeah, you can't use that word.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is more because
Yeah.
it is more non.
It is more non-conforming, but
Right, because it's bigger.
how about, I like a motion to approve their plans as submitted and authorize the decision that Rich liked. That Rich signed. How about
I'll
that
second
one?
that.
That sounds like a
I'll
good.
second that motion, Courtney.
You good?
Courtney made the motion, did you hear it?
Yeah, I just hear that.
All right.
Sorry, Rich. Screwing up your
All in
decision.
favor? Chris?
Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
Josephine Kordahay, aye.
You might as well
And Courtney
say.
Starling, aye.
Very good.
I think I'm your fifth.
Courtney's on that one.
Yep, okay, thank you.
All right.
Elaine,
And-
put up the bat signal when it's ready for signature.
We don't have to do it.
At 33, we're just continuing, all right? There'll be no
Yes.
decisions.
Right.
We
Right.
just-
No.
And
Yeah,
we,
that-
and we did
That's,
continue that.
we continued that to next month.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll
That
see
one's
them in
fine.
30 days. They'll make progress. They're in good shape.
16, 15.
115 was continued.
Continued, yep.
So we're not gonna discuss this.
And then 6
No,
Baltimore. Do
because
we need to actually
we're gonna go
vote
to,
that?
we'll discuss
we
it
can
at the
have-
next one.
Okay.
Do we vote?
We didn't close it.
No.
No. Did we actually vote 6 Baltimore to uphold the building commissioner's denial and to add the language? That needs a vote, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, you didn't vote.
Do you have to vote that even though, because it's already vacated?
Well, we want to
We wanna have
find.
the-
We need to
want-
issue a finding.
We want some kind of documentation that we already,
You denied the appeal and then they
and he
He's
moved out.
remedied it.
And if he goes back
Moved out.
in, then it's the second
So I'll
offense.
make a motion for 6
Or cured the
Baltimore
violation.
Street to uphold the decision of the building commissioner to issue a violation to not to allow a mobile home to be parked on site. However, we have found that the violation has at this point been cleared. Cured, not cured.
Cured.
Yeah.
I second that. Can I second it?
Sure.
I second it. All in favor? Roll call. Chris
Metcalf, aye.
David Axberg, aye.
Tim Martin abstain.
Josephine Kordahay, aye.
Mike Brogan, aye.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
Now we have town planner updates.
okay. Well, you covered a lot of turn. So we do have the zoning bylaw amendments going before town meeting, which I think we already talked about.
I read through them all. They actually looked good.
I didn't have anything that I felt needed,
there
like
was,
warranted a comment.
No, it's good enough.
I read it. I read the ADU one, and I was just like, this is fine. So.
All right.
yeah, the ADU was fine too.
Okay. Next matter, so we are looking at, we've been asked to look at the fees that we talked about a couple of months ago. So we'd looked around different communities, so it's kind of a hodgepodge of approaches to this. There's no
set method.
Of course not.
I will say that a couple of communities did have commercial versus residential, so I think it does make sense to propose to you as a board to have a residential versus commercial. So that's something that we'll propose and put that before you in the at the April meeting to consider.
Okay. Yep.
We're going to change the regulations in terms of number of applications and paper copies. We've been doing it, but Leland Wild just submitted everything in paper, so we end up with a lot of paper.
No,
So we just
sir.
want to match it up.
No, I
Have
want-
one set of paper for the public. We need one set for the public if they come in, so we want to make that change. The other thing is the meeting time is 7:30 in your regulations. We've been doing 7 PM actually since I've been here. Coming up on 8 years now. So we want to reflect it based on 7 PM.
Yeah, I'm not coming at 7:30.
For our
Right.
plan sets, even for the office set, could they do like 11 by 17? So, because you know that cost is part of the reason that those aren't in color. So if those were, and they don't need to be, printed at ANSI, we can get 11 by 17 and like read those. And so.
No way those neighbors are gonna take 11 by 17. Do you see? They don't want that. They want to see. They want to see this stuff.
What
They want to see them coming zone.
what we need is for them to be rendering these baddies in color and the digital copy because
You
those.
could have a full-size black and white and a 11 by 17 color.
I know that was a
only
cost
required to
saving, but
have
that made things harder.
They're
and-
required to give it to you. You're not required to print that.
No, they give it to us.
No, yeah, they're required to print it, but even still, that plan set right there, if you're gonna take, that's not a $90 plan set, that's like $90 a page when you take it to the commercial printer. I hope they have a plotter, but that looks to me like they don't, so.
Yeah, that's.
It looks pro bono, dude.
Yeah.
So that's part of what we're changing.
Make it easy.
Okay, what else?
That's it. Those the
Okay.
change.
Just
In terms of your regulations.
give me color plans that I can read in a normal size. Nobody wants that.
Oh, yeah, but that's Avery Way, which Avery Way, as you know, was a 40B. However, it's becoming a public, it's being petitioned to be a public way, which by statute goes to the planning board for recommendation, so the planning board is taking it up. But it's on the warrant for acceptance.
It's a 40B and we've never accepted a 40B road before in this town, correct?
No, to my knowledge, no, but that's one.
Now they're wanting us to accept a 40B
Well, the
road and maintain
previous
it.
board decision for that included that as a public way, as well as Lakeland Hills, as well as Wade's Crossing. So there's 3.
I have a question.
Okay.
And not want to be.
On the Avery Way one, this is just for our information going forward. Why wasn't Avery Way forced to go through to the spur road off of Boardman Street?
Oh my goodness.
There's a spur road into there. There's a.
Yeah, there's a non-connection there purposefully.
Yeah, so
it's
this
not
goes
a cut
way back. There was a.
I'm sure there's an
It was
abutter. The
connected.
reason's an abutter.
No, there was, well, maybe, but there was a.
The reason no
There
is.
was a development
point out,
that
there's an
was
abutter.
proposed to connect over
Of course there was.
Boardman, and it was denied by the conservation. It was a long, protracted legal battle with conservation.
The Boy
Such as
Scouts.
But now he's building a house out there. There's
the
a
other
house
side.
being built on that piece of property that
Yeah,
ties it in.
right.
There's a house being built there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, okay, if it was such a thing, why couldn't they? have-
Right, exactly.
And to me, if we're trying to get rid of dead end streets, that would have gotten rid of a lot of dead end streets. I
We
mean,
have to
It
come to
would've been-
this conclusion
It would
as
have been a cut
a.
through though. It definitely would have become a cut through.
This is a.
it would be on a hard cut through.
It's an evolution
Well,
of
everybody going to
thought
school-
that we're not.
Everybody
That,
taking their kid to school would cut through there.
it's an evolution of thought that making cut-throughs is not the worst thing that happens, because now and again you have, I don't know, the Park Street Bridge that gets knocked out.
Yeah,
and all of
right.
a sudden, we can't get anywhere because none of the streets connect because it's unsafe.
It's unsafe. It's unsafe. It's been unsafe for a while.
Yeah, you can see through that guy.
So how long is that gonna be?
Oh,
nobody-
forever. It's not coming back, babe.
What's going on with the bridge?
Nothing. So
The-
not to
nothing.
signpost, but why is Seekonk Street marked for a road cut today? All the
I
way
just saw
down?
that all the way,
All
my
the
way
way
in.
from the cemetery to my house.
They're doing the,
Upgrades.
the culvert replacement.
Upgrades.
They're gonna actually do that.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know that, right? We're getting shut down. We're getting shut down.
Yeah, we're totally shut down.
That's going completely away at the Ray's house.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be
I'm looking at the
okay.
website, but it's coming up.
You got horses,
coming up
right?
quick.
Can't you just like giddy on up on down the road? You're gonna be fine.
It's gonna be a long way around.
I thought I saw something like tomorrow.
Oh, we're not going to be able to go to that side?
You know, if we
They're shutting down tomorrow.
if we had it together like Lincoln.
No, they're starting to cut.
Yeah, it's
They just marked the road.
Lincoln has a trail network all through their town that goes through the woods that like you can just walk anywhere there. They don't tell anybody about it, but that's what you're buying when you buy in. We could have done
Depending how
that.
they're doing.
There's a lot of trails
here.
They're all overgrown.
There's a lot of
There's so
trails.
many
But
trails
in
here.
1980,
Is
that's
the town doing
the
it or is it contract?
that's like the call you could be running.
I used to cut a lot of those trails. I got tired of it.
Old Campbell Street has all these trails?
The cart path, my old cart path is all
A
down
lot of
to
the newer
road.
subdivisions have.
Your horses have all
trails.
gone down it and everything else,
Down
but
all the time.
You have
It's
a paper
public
road,
right
is
away.
that what you're
No.
saying?
it's
it's a
just an
cart.
old cart path.
It's a cart path. You can't build a structure over it.
Get that out.
You can't encumber it. It is a legal means of transportation for a horse. I have some on my property that I'm fighting for.
I'm just like, sound like paper roads, my dude.
Yeah, same kind of things. Some
Same
of them
kind of
are,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
So do you
from-
have so the horse trails on your property, are people fighting for access saying that they are legacy horse trails that have been there, or?
I don't think he has enough.
No, we don't have enough.
Oh, okay. I don't mean to
are we
like
still on
generate
this
laughter
week?
there. I just don't
Are we
know.
done?
14 Stop River Road enforcement.
That's just for-
request.
that
was just a letter.
Correspondence. Avery Way Enclave acceptance. Nope, I think we're all set. Do we hear a motion to close? Oh,
Do you want to hear about Everett Street or not? I mean, there's
Right at first,
that's
okay.
chapter land.
Notice of intent to sell land.
yeah.
oh, is that
I
that's the
definitely
chapter
do.
land? Sure.
Sorry. Yes.
So, I do, well, I can get you a
there's-
better one on
There's a large parcel at
There
the
is.
end of Everett Street, which
So
everyone
the-
doesn't know is past the cemetery on Everett, heading to 140 and Rentham,
Yeah, so I can.
right?
You know who makes good neighbors? Cemeteries.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but people are dying to get in there.
Do you know if you bury?
It's our most affordable real estate we got.
Do you know if you bury a family member on your property, you know how long you have to pay real estate
I
tax?
found that out with Trump's ex-wife. I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
That's
I did not know that.
There's a reason she's in the golf
I think
course.
about adopting
Golf
one of
course
the
in New
horses
Jersey,
then
and now
bury
he
it.
doesn't have to pay taxes.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's probably part of the
that's
divorce
no
agreement.
tax.
Yeah, it's why
Family plot.
Havana's in the golf course. It's not just
Massachusetts still allows family plots, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of whole tomorrow.
I'm thinking about it.
I actually
My folks,
not?
my folks are getting to that age. I think I should think about that.
All right, so I
How am I
want
going to
to
know I didn't plant somebody?
draw your attention to
Okay, hey guys.
so this is the parcel that we're talking about. That is,
Okay. What's on the back side of this? That Rentham Developmental Center or
yes.
okay.
Oh, no, not the. No. So Rentham's over here.
All right, is that DCAM or who owns what are we looking
What,
at?
that's Joe Fran, right?
There's Joffrin right there.
Joffrin.
I'm just asking about this one.
So this is Joe Fran.
This is
This is Four Kicks. So
Yeah.
you're coming up this
Oh,
way
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
on 115, and it's this large.
I'm not sure what is,
Where's the railway?
The railway crosses right here.
Okay. Yep, I know where you are.
Is the railroad. All right?
Yep.
the cemetery is right there,
So this is Everett Street going out towards Rentham, towards Route 1 on-ramp.
which coincides with 115. So
Right.
the,
Sell it.
no, Well,
Don't want it.
it's up to you. I will say this,
Thanks.
the planning board recommended to exercise the right to purchase it.
With what money? With-
Yeah, yes, yes.
For what?
Yes,
Yes.
well, because right
Does
in.
it have oil?
So here's the
The
thing.
price, yes.
So right in the letter to the select board is the intent to potentially develop a small 40B
Yeah,
on the site.
Do it. Sell it.
no.
No,
Sell
buy
it.
it.
Buy it.
Why do we want to buy this?
It's affordable. It's cheap.
It's affordable.
It's very
Oh,
affordable.
who set the price? Who set the price?
The purchaser.
The buyer.
The
I mean,
buyer.
the seller.
Seller set the price.
Seller, sorry.
Okay, so
Seller.
it's, I think, 235,
280.
285.
How much land?
13 acres.
13 acres for 285.
What's the zone there?
13
Residential.
acres,
Residential.
residential.
Really, on
zone.
115?
Any,
Yes.
any like wetlands with that or no?
There's some wetlands there.
Yeah, there is some.
I don't think there's a lot of wetlands.
Look, if the town don't buy it, how do I buy it?
I know.
Agricultural.
Oh, it's,
So, it's
well,
all
it's
right.
owned agricultural now. So
Right.
just so you realize, if this gets sold, the town will in turn get some back taxes, very minimal difference.
5 years.
From the seller, as opposed to they have to give us the first right of refusal to buy that.
Right, so
But does it abut town land?
No, I
It
just.
doesn't abut anything.
it doesn't
No,
abut
it's just
town land.
because they're in a different tax
So-
status that we get the right of
So the
first
last
refusal.
the last time this worked for us, right, was when Tommy was building, we gave him lots. He put houses on them. Correct?
That did happen.
That
was
was, that did. That happened
was
right here.
That was on Boardman Street
and
and Gum's Farm.
Yeah, that was
Fox Farm.
Pulte, well, yeah, Fox.
Yeah, I'm
Fox
sorry, not Tom.
Yeah,
Pulte.
Fox Run, yeah.
So, I mean, I think
No, there's a future opportunities
I
there.
think put it in a bank.
Put it in the bank. They're not making more land, you know.
No.
She's got the money, right? Sue has the money to buy that.
Yeah, so the Affordable Housing Trust is.
Yeah, well, she's got money.
Yeah.
So the
Look at-
Affordable
'cause-
Housing
'cause
Trust is
nothing-
looking to acquire the property to prevent a 40B from being built to build a 40B.
No.
No, 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 no. 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 That's not what, no. What we're saying is purchase it because the land's a fair price.
Yep. And build, and we
Where-
build,
And maybe somewhere in the future, we can build an affordable house like we did down on Boardman Street or wherever. And those are single-family homes that
2 or
are,
3 lots out of that. You might get 2 or 3 frontages.
you might be able to get 3 out.
you are never going to convince a housing planner that that is a great plan, but okay.
When you're building a 40B and you have to supply lots, and they want to move them to another site, and you have it. I just think, what's the money doing in the bank?
Yeah.
Collecting very minimal.
If not that,
interest.
what?
They're not making any more
If
land.
you're not going to buy that, what are you going to buy?
Exactly, because you know,
Well, my housing plan over there, think about this. If the town purchased it, there could be opportunities for housing that
Yes,
would,
yes.
of course.
would be
it could
directed by the town as opposed to leave it at the whims of a.
At that price.
The biggest load of
Leaving it to
horseshit,
the-
you know that's a 20-year fight to build a duplex. You ain't doing shit with that if we buy.
Is that in the MBTA zone?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's out of the MBTA.
No.
But that's
Mark
why
this-
the
Mark
medical
this-
center.
You said, what'd you say, 20 years? Mark this date down.
I'll take the
Tell
over.
me, tell me
I'll take
about
the over on the
Southwood
20
Hospital
years.
again.
Over on 20.
I'll take the over, 25 years.
Yeah, if the town acquires it, that I don't care whose money acquires it in the town. I don't care which trust buys it. That becomes a new opportunity, and every time we have a new opportunity, we've got to perseverate and do 400 market studies and market analyses, redesign it 72 times because it's going to be an open and public process, and all we're going to do is grind our gears.
What's your point?
My point is that I don't want to sit through that, man. Life is short.
I agree with you. They already have the money. I mean, let them spend it on this. At least I can.
It's better than putting it in the bank and
I got
getting
value.
nothing.
I got value.
All right, listen, we're just taking it as information. You don't have to take any action.
I would.
So, we don't.
You don't have to.
The zoning board says buy it.
Appropriates the money?
Probably town meeting. Is it town
The
meeting?
trust, actually. In this case, the trust is interested in pursuing. So it's a housing trust.
The trust actually has the authority to exercise, they have the authority to buy real estate. That's part of why you
They don't
create
need
a
approval
trust.
from town meeting?
No, because that's part of why you have a housing
they come
trust.
for a 40B, we can
Otherwise, if
deny
you
it.
wait for town meeting, there is no public body
Right,
that is
Courtney, when they come for a
implementing
40B, we can deny it.
Hey, don't prejudice the application.
When we just, no, because it'll be town driven, it's gonna be a lit project, it'll be friendly, it'll have all the things we want, it'll have a dog park, it'll pet your children, it'll ride bike, it'll do all of the
Yeah,
things.
it'll have the
because that's what-
refueling station, yeah.
That's how it's gonna go, but, yeah.
So it's just information, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much for the information.
25 years.
Well, yeah,
no more information.
You have no more information?
Yeah, you just.
Yeah,
Do I hear a motion to
Adjourn?
not adjourn?
Minutes.
Oh, minutes. We have to accept some minutes.
Oh my God, we are gonna
That's
be
not
out
on
of
here.
compliance if we don't get them
We
accepted.
did not have that on the agenda.
Although we can't do it.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
We can always accept minutes.
Put it on.
February 19th.
We've got a,
This is any other
Oh, it
business.
does. Approved minute
business.
meeting.
Yeah.
Meeting minutes, February 19th. Did everybody take a look at those?
has Joe reviewed them?
I did.
Joe reviewed,
like
if
them.
Joe's cool, we're good.
Well, Joe's not here.
Let's
Yeah,
make
but-
a motion to
but I
accept the
trust that-
February
I
19th
trust
minutes.
Joe to do this work.
Any seconds?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
David did.
Aye.
So he's good.
Courtney's turn.
Christopher?
Chris?
He's
Yeah,
awake.
okay, aye. Chris Metcalf, aye.
David Hackberg, aye.
Tim Martin, aye.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Now do I hear a motion? I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Yay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chris, aye, aye.
Chris is still awake. Thank you, Chris.
We've officially tortured
Thanks,
him.
guys.
All righty, guys. Have a good night.